Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Today I've got for you guys 10 different designer fragrances that you need to know about. These are some ones that you have to smell in order to fully appreciate them. Which makes sense because that's like pretty much every fragrance that's ever been made, isn't it? Yeah, I guess it is.
Use your common sense.
We got a wide range of things here. Some of these are some absolute favorites of mine, and other ones maybe I don't quite love, but they are really unique and things that you should absolutely get your nose on, because for some people out there, they absolutely crush. Absolutely. Where do we get started? I'm gonna start things off a little bit weird with this one. Dang it. LOV Solo Origami. I was expecting it to slide smoothly. Instead, it drunkenly fell forward.
Julian.
Now there is one thing that I despise about my bottle, and that's this.
Bruh.
Yeah, you see that? The collar around the atomizer always comes off, and I have to get this like little hook pin and pull it out. There it is. And I can put it there and pretend for 3 seconds that it doesn't do that every time I take the cap off. Why am I even trying to push this back down? It doesn't matter. But Origami, this one here, is a fragrance I really, really enjoy. I think it smells fantastic. It's definitely under the radar. 99.9% of people are not gonna know about this. And you can probably tell what type of fragrance this is just by the coloration there. It's very green. So what that means, of course, is that for a number of people out there, this is not gonna quite work out for them. You see that? I just put the cap down there and let's see. Ah! It didn't do it that time. Yes. Maybe just being very gentle is the way. So this one came out in 2018. As I said, it's very green, aromatic. It has lavender, basil, bergamot, rosemary, some vetiver, geranium, and musk, among other notes in the fragrance. Really wonderful for spring and summertime. It's a nice one, I think, for guys middle-aged and older. Younger guys, probably you're not gonna gravitate toward this quite so much because it really doesn't have any sweetness to it. It's just very fresh, zingy, clean, and classy. And among everything else that's coming out nowadays, this stands out. It stands out in a good way. Let's go with Paco Rabanne Ultra Red up next, something completely different than that. Not that I dislike this one more than that or like it more than that. I love them both in their own special ways. So Ultra Red, nowadays, pretty cheap from discounters. Doesn't cost that much, has a funky bottle. It looks like a UV light, but this one is ultra red, you see. There's also an ultraviolet, so I guess that one is really the UV light, isn't it? This one is sweet. Sugary sweet, syrupy sweet, and a little bit similar to Ultra Zest from Terry Mugler, which is discontinued and crazy expensive. Which, by the way, this used to be discontinued and crazy expensive. On eBay, this was going for like $250, $300 all day, every day, until somehow 80 billion bottles flooded the discounter market, and it's been cheap ever since then. In terms of notes, it's pretty simple. There's blood orange, there's vanilla, there's tonka, there's praline, and patchouli. That's pretty much it. But in spite of this one smelling similar to Ultra Zest, it does stand out quite well. It's another compliment puller, and it's a little bit more in style nowadays with how many different sweet fragrances are out there. By that I mean sweet fragrances are very popular, but this one doesn't smell quite the same as those other very popular sweet scents. After that, Liquid Brune from French Avenue, which is Fragrance World. And this is their alternative or clone or inspired by or whatever makes you feel happy when you talk about clone fragrances of ALTHAIR from Parfums de Marly. And this one has gone up a little bit in price. So whereas this one used to be crazy expensive and then got crazy cheap, this one has climbed up a little bit because of its popularity and sometimes is going for like 50 bucks. Now it's not that it's not worth 50 bucks. It's actually amazing in terms of the quality, but it is one of those things where you kind of want it to dip back down to where it was, you know, 35 or something. I know 15 bucks isn't a huge deal, but still. Anyway, this one real close to ALTHAIR, like really close. I think this is one of the best clone fragrances on the market, period, nowadays. Perfect for fall and winter. It's another one though, just like the Parfums de Marly, that is really sweet from the opening into the dry down. But if you want some of that PDM action on the cheap, this is gonna be one of the best things you can get. Let's talk next about this one, CH Men from Carolina Herrera. I've talked about this one a little bit off and on this year, and it's a fragrance I keep going back to. I gotta say, you know, I'll see it in the collection and I'll be like, maybe I'll wear that one today. It's like, I don't know, it's just really addictive. It's been out for a while, to be fair. This is not something that's, you know, just a couple years old or a few years old. It's been out for going on 2 decades, or I guess a decade and a half, but that's still kind of going on 2 decades, right? Right? So it's a leather fragrance, but it's a really sweet leather. This one has notes of leather, vanilla, sugar, woods, bergamot, grapefruit, and even a grassy kind of accord when you first spray it on. It's a sweet leather, very wearable, no animalic feel here. A great evening fragrance, but also versatile enough for daytime use through fall, winter, and spring. Because it has a bit of a freshness off the top with that sort of green nuance with the citrus that's in here. The performance is so-so. That's always been the drawback with this one. People say, oh, it's not strong enough. I don't think it's weak, it's just average. And maybe with a fragrance that has those notes, or at least in the base, you know, the sugar, the vanilla, the leather, all that stuff, you would think it would have a little more punch to it. But I still think it's really good, gets the job done, massive compliment puller. And since it's past its heyday a little bit, not many people are wearing it. So again, it gives you something a little bit more unique. Let's do this one next. Yves Saint Laurent L'Homme Le Parfum. Now, to be fair, when this first dropped, when it first came out, I was not overwhelmed. I was whelmed. Or maybe slightly under, maybe medium rare whelmed. And the big reason for that is because when I smelled it, I was like, well, this is kind of redundant. You know, there's not really anything new here. They're not taking any chances. And all of that is still absolutely true. They did not take any chances with this. It is not anything very new. It is not unredundant. Unredundant? It is redundant. It smells like you took a bit of Y Eau de Parfum and mixed it with L'Homme. So L'Homme Le Parfum ends up being kind of a blend of Y Eau de Parfum and L'Homme Eau de Toilette. Of course, both from the house Yves Saint Laurent. And I know you may say to yourself, well, yeah, that does actually sound boring. And it sounds like they really phoned it in. You're not wrong, but it is extremely versatile. It's a big compliment puller. It's very, very, very easy to wear. And you can pull it off just about year-round. So it's one of those deals where it's like, do you like those 2 fragrances? If the answer is yes, you'll probably love this. If the answer is no, you hate both of those fragrances, you'll really hate this one. I want to talk about another Paco Rabanne up next. It's this one, XS. I have always very much enjoyed XS, and it's cheap, so that's nice as well. This is one of the newer bottle styles, new-ish-er bottle styles, because this one still has the hinge. I think most of the true new ones, they did away with the hinge and you just pop the whole cap off. Gotta leave the hinge. It's cool. Looks like a Zippo. But you can still find the old XS bottles as well, which look like this. And they're not really much more expensive, at least last time I checked. So XS, and honestly, the whole everything that has XS in it from Paco Rabanne line is totally overlooked nowadays. Because you had Pure XS, which I like, and then Pure XS Night, which I really like, and is now discontinued, and haven't gotten any of those, no new ones in a long time. Probably dead, right? You have Black XS, which used to have a ton of flankers. Not anything from there either, and then you got this one, which also had a little flanker action, but nothing here either. Paco Rabanne, bring back XS, or Black XS, or Pure XS. And by that I mean bring back the line, like new ones. I realize you can still get this, obviously. Anyway, back to this one. I can't really do that, can I? Let's try again. Whoa! I can. This smells like Creed's Himalaya, only it's way, way, way cheaper. And you may ask yourself, well, which one came first? Surely the Creed. No, it was the Paco. Look, I'm not saying nothing here, but get Himalaya and spray it on side by side with XS. You tell me if they don't smell a little similar, In terms of notes, this one has mint, bergamot, juniper, coriander, bit of rosemary and oak moss as well. Kind of metallic, soapy, very fresh, extremely clean. I love this one. Next, we have Legend Night from Mont Blanc. This comes from a line of fragrances, Legend, that is typically, from discounters, very affordable. So you don't have to pay too much for really any of them. And by and large, they're all good quality, especially when you consider that price. Speaking of discounters, here are some codes you can use at a number of discounters to save money. The JOMASHOP codes only work within the app, and then there are also codes to save money at Max Aroma, Fragflex, the Perfume Box, and more. Back to Legend Night. In terms of notes, it's got a decent amount. There's mint in here, there's cardamom, apple, lavender, akigala wood, musk, and vanilla. And for some people, this reminds them a little bit of Code Profumo from Giorgio Armani. It's not not the exact same as that one. It's not quite as loud or fizzy with like all that spicy sweetness off the top, but it's still really well done, very sexy, and another scent that flies under the radar. The one potential drawback with this one, not that loud as far as performance goes. Longevity is okay, but in terms of projection for more of like a fall, winter, evening scent, it's a little bit on the lower side. That being said, it could work to your advantage if you're looking for something that comes across really sexy and magnetic at night. Which sounds kind of weird, but by that I mean date night fragrances. A lot of times you don't want to go too heavy, and so this one could work really well. Then we have a hideous, disgusting looking fragrance bottle, at least in my opinion. It's Shiaka Silver from CARLISLE. Now I know, what's on the outside doesn't matter, what's on the inside is, right? We learned that when we're little kids, but still. It just feels very cheap, plasticky, and looks like a Dunhill Icon bottle got squished after an all-night bender because the knobs got a little fatter. So yeah, it doesn't look great, but it smells awesome. Whew. It is a very high quality alternative to Amouage's Reflection Man for like 10% of the cost, maybe less depending on where you're shopping. Right off the rip, you can smell this. There's no funky alcohol kind of vibe going on. It's smooth, has a really nice clean soapy floral aspect to it, just like Reflection. And I know that when you look at this, as I said, it looks like something you would find on a shelf at TJ Maxx, missing the cap, probably missing the atomizer itself, with like a clearance sticker slapped on there that says, please take me home for free. I don't even care, just get it off the shelf. Get it out of my face. I know that it looks like that, but it smells good. Terre d'Hermes up next, Eau Givrée. I love Eau Givrée. This is my jam. It's one of my favorites. It beat my fragrance for fragrance of the year, and I ain't even mad. Teranova back there, by the way, was the one that went up against this one. It was last year, wasn't it? For fragrance of the year, Fragrance Foundation Awards. I made it to the finals, baby. I made it to the finals. That's worth something. I maybe got blasted in the finals, but let's go. At least I made it. Participation trophy, yeah.
It's like a reward.
So yeah, that's this one, Teranova. I also creatively directed Jet Black Enigma, West Loop, Edgewater, and South Slope. All of those fragrances came out underneath the Michael Malone line, or brand rather, the Gents line underneath the brand. And you can find those in every Perfumania and fragrance outlet store in the country. If you go into one of those stores, if you go into one, you can ask, hey, Gents fragrances, they should help you. They should give you one and you can smell it. If they say, I don't know who that is, why are you working there? You just know. Come on. Back to Terre d'Hermes Eau Givrée. I love the opening here. The citrus smells fantastic. It has a citron note in here off the top. It's a little bit rindy, but not too much. So it's like very fresh. It's a touch sweet, but then it also has this sour aspect as well, which just makes it really interesting. As it dries down, you get more of a woody aspect that comes out that ties it in together with the other Terre d'Hermes fragrances that came before it. But this one is more on the fresh, modern side of woodiness, not as flinty or earthy as the other Terre d'Hermes releases. Really great for spring, summer, during the day, nice office fragrance. Just a really good one, help you stand out and smell classy too. Speaking about classy, how about this? Narciso Rodriguez Bleu Noir Parfum. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a real good one actually. So this is an iris forward fragrance. And in a lot of ways, it could remind you of Valentino Uomo Intense, Dior Homme Original, or Dior Homme Intense, or Gentleman Eau de Parfum. Kind of in that overarching style, but this one is the one that more commonly gets left out in the cold. Like people will talk about, oh man, Dior Homme Intense, so amazing, which it is. Valentino Uomo Intense, so good, which it is. And then it's like Narciso Rodriguez. Who's that? Is that who directed From Dusk Till Dawn? I don't know, it's Robert Rodriguez.
You be cool.
Right, yeah. What were you saying? Dior Homme Intense, so good, dude. But people that know that this is really, really, really excellently done, and it's just there with those other ones also. So in terms of notes, it does have that iris, like I mentioned. There's tonka, there's musk, a little suede leather, some woody notes, cardamom, touch of citrus as well. And even though it has that iris right up there toward the forefront, it's blended together very well with those other notes. So for a lot of people, it may actually be more wearable day to day, especially during fall and winter time, when you compare it to those other ones that do get hyped a little bit more. So if you love iris, you need to check this one out. Don't leave this one in the cold. Show it a little love. Is that 10? That's 10. There we go, guys. There are 10 fragrances for one reason or another that I feel like you need to know, you need to get your nose on. Keeping in mind that every single one of these is not gonna be for every single person. Like I said, this one, very green. If you hate green fragrances, not for you. This one, very irisy. You don't like iris? Not for you. But there is definitely something here that you will love. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.